You want to make a change in your life, your business, your relationships, your money, your health, but you keep falling back into the same patterns. You keep falling into the same habits. And even though your mind wants to change, your body kind of keeps saying, nope. Today's Powerback episode is about breaking the habit loop, the shit that is keeping you stuck. And a little secret, changing your outer world begins with changing your inner world. So if you're ready to make a change but can't quite seem to break the old habits that are keeping you in the same cycle, then today's Powerback episode is going to be for you. Before we dig into peeling the layers of your habits back, this is a topic that we cover in the Mindfuckery workshop. In fact, it's day one because it is a foundational piece to making any change in your world. When you understand your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your actions, then you can start to make actual tangible shifts. In the Mindfuckery workshop, which is 5 days, it's live, it's with a group of like minded women. I have witnessed time and time again these ladies go from one version of themselves to a completely shifted, opened, aligned version of themselves in literally 5 days. In most cases, in 2 or 3 days. This workshop is all about getting out of your own way so that you can start to take action on the things that you actually want. And if you're feeling like, yes, this is me, yes, this is what I need, great news. The next workshop starts on November 6th. So if you want to register, grab a seat at LauraAura.com. There's a giant banner at the top of the page. Click on that, and I'll see you inside the workshop. All right, let's dig into breaking habits. I first want to acknowledge that breaking habits is not always an easy thing. Many of your habits are probably very deeply ingrained from past experiences, from old things that you've been through, from the way that you've always done things. I mean, you've heard me talk about the dirt road in your mind. These old habits are very much the dirt road in your neurological mind. They're quite literally grooves, neural pathways where your brain has connected two things together. And anytime that you try to break a habit, you're going to be met with resistance. You're going to be met with confusion or worry or overthinking or questioning because you're challenging your subconscious's way of knowing how to do things. Now, this pushback isn't bad. It's just the way that your brain is literally wired. And what we're doing here together today, and what you'll continue to do to break this cycle after this episode, is we are creating new paths in your mind. We're literally going against what your subconscious mind remembers to give it a new thing to remember. Because habits don't always have to be a bad thing, right? When we think of a habit, immediately our minds are like, oh, yeah, habits are bad. But getting into a routine where I wash my face every single night is an amazing habit. Shifting my morning routine from drinking very strong coffee on an empty stomach and never eating breakfast to starting to eat breakfast and then drink coffee to help better support my body and my hormones is an incredible habit. So the thing that you need to know is that to break an old habit, it must be replaced with something else. Otherwise, you've got these neurons just like willy-nilly flapping around in your brain. They don't know what to do. No, it needs something to attach to. So to break an old habit, we need to create a new one. And the best news is you get to choose what that new one is. Today, we're talking about shifting habits that you no longer want so that you can create more habits that you actually want and need. The $1 million question here today is why can I not stop doing this thing that I know is not good for me? It's not helping me out. It's sabotaging what I'm creating. It's fucking shit up. In my logical mind, I know what I actually want, right? Maybe it's better health. Maybe it's more money. Maybe it's to grow the business. Maybe it's to build on your relationships. So why do I keep going against that by doing things that are unintentionally sabotaging the shit that I actually want? Well, my friend, let's insert the habit loop. I recently got certified as a mind body practitioner. I've not talked about that a lot, actually, now that I realize that, because I really wanted to study and understand how our brain affects our body and vice versa. And through my certification, I learned about the habit loop. This is literally the thing that is stopping you from moving forward. What happens at the top of the loop is we get a thought. We say something to ourselves about ourselves. Somebody says something to us. We start overthinking, whatever. Your brain is activated, right? That voice is starting to go off. You know, the one that starts taking you down this crazy ass path. That thought then translates into a feeling. That's when your body gets activated. You may feel it in your chest, in your stomach. You may get tightness in your back. You might get a headache. You might, I don't know, your left ass cheek might fall asleep. I don't know. You're going to start to feel something in your body. And along with that is typically an emotion: sadness, anger, worry, fear. When our thoughts create feelings, we are like full body activated together then. And then our feelings create behaviors. For instance, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, the behavior might be to shut down. When I'm feeling nervous, scared, or out of control, my behavior might be to overeat. When I'm feeling worried that I might have let somebody down, the behavior might be to overcompensate and overdo a bunch of shit. See where I'm going with this? When we then act on that behavior, meaning we get the feeling, we feel it in our body, and then we have our go-to behavior. By doing that enough times with enough repetition and enough belief in our bodies, we create habits. This is when the subconscious mind gets activated, because when we've done this enough on repetition, it's like we are programming our bodies to know what to do, even if we don't tell it what to do. And when that has been stored in the subconscious mind, that's why you're doing things on autopilot. That's why you keep thinking about doing something that you want to do, but you can't quite seem to get your body and your mind in a line to do something different about it. So let me walk through the habit loop with one of my habits for you, because I think it's always helpful to hear like an actual contextual example to see how this really plays out. And by the way, at the core of all of this is usually a belief system, something that we have grown to believe is true. In this particular scenario, my core belief is that to be successful, I have to be chaotically working, meaning always on, getting into the office, getting a bunch of stuff done, always finishing everything on the same day. Like, it's an old fucking habit. It's an old fucking belief that I am still shifting to this day. And that's the other thing I want to acknowledge is it's not about getting rid of it. Can you replace it and minimize it? Absolutely. That's literally what we're doing in this process. But it doesn't mean that it's completely gone, because at one point this pathway has existed in you. It probably does right now. And so there is some familiarity. It's not going to completely dissipate, but you can be better equipped to shift it faster. So because of this belief, a thought that pops up to me is, you know what? I can maximize my time. I can get more done if I take my phone into the bathroom and do something while I'm sitting there. Now, first, I just want to acknowledge like it's just not a good thing to take the phone into the bathroom, right? Even though so many of us do, it's not a sanitary thing. Yes, I do clean it. Yes, I clean my phone. Yes, I clean my hands. Let's like just acknowledge that. But even just sitting here thinking about and talking about this with you, I'm like, holy crap. I feel so strongly about this belief that I feel like I need to be productive while I'm shitting. That in the 40 seconds that it takes me to pee, that I might be able to get something so incredibly large done that I'll be so much further ahead when I'm out. Talking about these things out loud is incredibly powerful, by the way, my friend, which is why doing live classes together is so impactful as well. But that's another discussion. So the thought is, I need to take my phone into the bathroom so that I can get more done. That creates a feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of getting ahead, the feeling of being super successful because now I'm actively doing things in every second of my day. That feeling creates the behavior. What's the behavior? Taking the phone into the bathroom every single time. Sometimes then sitting in there for too long because, I got sucked into something. And you know what that behavior does? It creates a fucking habit so that when I go to the bathroom, I'm not even consciously thinking about picking up my phone and taking it with me. I'm literally just doing it to the point where when I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh my God, I am fucking doing it again. Now, my truth here, my desire here is to have separation, is to know that I am accomplishing everything that I need to in the timeline that I am, that there is There's no need to rush or cram shit into my day. And that, in fact, when I relax and step away from shit, everything gets to be easier. Yet here I am, pooping and scrolling on TikTok. Now, if you do this too, I am not shaming you by any means. I'm not even shaming myself. I'm actually just kind of laughing about it because it's such a simple example, but one that I think that a lot of us can relate to in how easy it is to unintentionally create habits. So, how do we break this? Is the $1 million question here. How do we stop doing the things that we don't want to do and do more of the things that we actually want to do? Well, you may have heard me mention it in my example, but the first thing that we have to do is acknowledge, what do you actually desire? What is the thing that you want to call forward? And if you've got lots of habits, I suggest start with the one that just really gets you the most, or start with the one that feels the most achievable. This could be huge, it could be a tiny thing. Like taking my phone into the bathroom isn't causing me an incredible amount of distress, but it's not adding to my desire of having white space in my life. So it's a little bit of an easier place to start. And sometimes when you start, you build momentum. When you build momentum, you make change. When you make change, the confidence naturally comes along with it. So, first in this process is acknowledge, what do you actually desire? What is it that you actually want? What is important to you? What is one thing that you can really grasp onto? And then, second, let's get very real, no shame at all, about what your habit is. What is the thing that you are doing that is unintentionally sabotaging having the thing that you actually want? For instance, if you're wanting to make more money, the habit might be, how is this actually affecting you? How is this pulling you away from the thing that you actually desire? And why do you want to shift this? I think that we skip over this acknowledgement, this noticing, this nurturing portion of just seeing our habits for what they are without naming them, without making them mean something huge or about yourself. Have you ever sat and thought about, why do I want to shift this in the first place? What would this mean to me to be able to do this? This very gentle exercise allows you to just, one, neutralize the emotions that might come along with this, but two, to tap back into your why, to tap back into the bigger picture. Habits are very in the weeds, in the trenches, micro details, right? By doing this, you're panning out, you're looking at things from a bird's eye view and reconnecting with the thing that you actually want in the first place. There's also beauty in acknowledging it and then releasing it. So instead of shaking our finger at the thing, what if you acknowledge how this has helped you in the past? Maybe this is something that has helped you get through something. Perhaps it was a coping mechanism. Maybe it's the way that you learned. Maybe it's something that kept you safe in the past. In one season of my business, being on my phone in the bathroom, getting shit done served me. It allowed me to save a business that wasn't doing so great. It was go time. It was all forces ahead. It served me in that time frame. But what happened was I never stopped. So when things got better, the habit stayed. So how has your habit helped you in the past? Let's acknowledge it. Let's thank it. Hey, I see you. I hear you. I feel you. Thank you for helping me in that time frame. And then let's acknowledge, why does this no longer serve you? For me, it doesn't serve me to take my phone in there anymore because I'm not trying to save things anymore. I don't need to do that. I'm running a healthy business. White space is beneficial to me. It helps my mind, which therefore helps my business. I'm in a better place. I'm in more control of my life. So, how is your habit no longer serving you? What is it actually pulling you away from? And lastly, what would support you better instead? Remember in the beginning, I told you that habits must be replaced with something new to be able to break them. Now you might be thinking, okay, Laura, are you taking something different in the bathroom with you to replace the phone or what's going on here? No. What I'm doing is I'm replacing the old habit of taking the phone to the bathroom with the new habit of sitting there. And I have to tell you that when you start to do this, it's uncomfortable. Like, again, talking about this out loud seems so silly, but it's such a real thing that sitting on the toilet, just staring into the abyss, felt uncomfortable. So, you know what I do sometimes when I'm at home is I go back to the thing that we used to do in the 90s, which is to read the back of shampoo bottles. Because suddenly the copywriting on the back of shampoo bottles becomes incredibly interesting to me. The new habit is getting comfortable being uncomfortable until it becomes my new norm. So it's consciously choosing to not pick up the phone. And when I have subconsciously picked up the phone and I start walking there, I notice it. There's the phone in my hand, or the feeling. Oh, there's the feeling that I want to grab the phone. This is the process where we get to break the habit loop by creating a new habit loop, the one that frees you, the one that gets you to where you want to be. And this is through the Powerback process. I'm telling you, this shit fucking works in every freaking scenario. A is to get aware of it. I'm noticing that I'm going to pick up the phone. Notice when you go to do the habit, when you go to pick up the thing or say the thing or do the action, you unpack it. Where did this come from? Let's notice where this habit came from. What has this done to help me in the past? What do I actually want instead? R, reframe it. What is really true? What is the thing that will help me towards my desired feeling, towards the desired outcome that I've acknowledged? What do I actually need instead? And then A, aligned action, choosing to consciously do something new instead, even when resistance is present. When you start to do this over and over and over again, I want to reiterate that this is not a one and done type of situation. Breaking habits is a real ass thing, my friend. But staying consistent with this, and you're gonna have mess ups, right? There's gonna be scenarios where you choose to do the old thing that you did before. Okay, your only job in that moment is to not go down the shame spiral and beat yourself fucking up. Okay. Just simply notice it, acknowledge it, and get back on track. Because what happens is we create a new, healthier habit loop, one where positive thoughts create feelings. And then those feelings create aligned behaviors, the thing that we actually want instead. And by doing those aligned behaviors enough, we create new successful habits to the point where you don't have to think about this anymore. It's not such an active, forward, my gosh, how many times do I have to fucking think about this type of scenario anymore? It literally just becomes your new normal. And when the shit pops up again, because inevitably it will, you'll be able to recognize it like a flash of a fucking light. And now you have the tools to be able to shift it in the moment. This is the work, my friend. There is no shortcut. There is no sparkly tiara that I can give you that makes this all go away. This is consistently choosing yourself over and over again until it becomes your new norm. But I can promise you, if you begin to implement this, if you take this practice into your daily world, you absolutely will start to see and feel change. And it doesn't have to be a huge habit that you have to change right away, right? Like breaking habits of smoking or drinking or people pleasing, even. Those might be a bigger thing, a second stone. Unless, of course, you feel called to start with that, then go for it. But if you're feeling called to, like, hey, I want to start, maybe I've never done this for myself before and I want to be successful, then give yourself the permission to start with something small. My friend, I just told you all about how I take my fucking phone to the bathroom. Like, this is not life changing shit, but it is, right? The small things add up to the big changes. Never discount the power of changing small shit in your world because it all adds up to greater change. We dig even further into this topic inside the Mindfuckery workshop. And in fact, there's even a workbook to go along with it. We actively live work through this together, and you get a chance to be coached. If you've got something that's coming up, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling the resistance, we shift through that shit together live on the calls. So if you want to grab a seat, go to LauraAura.com. The next workshop runs from November 6th through the 10th, and it would be my absolute honor to help you get out of your own way. Because, my friend, you've got some really incredible shit to do, and you know it. You can also connect with me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me using @thatLauraAura. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.